Hello and welcome back to part 2 of a scenic walk number 2, and in case you didn't watch the first part, I suggest you go back now, otherwise you're going to feel completely lost. And just a quick recap, we're doing about a 5-mile walk and we started and we will finish in the little town of Winchelsea down the south coast of England in the county of Sussex. And so far we started, as I said, in the town of Winchelsea, walked down the hill, across the river valley, down there the River Breed Valley, over the railway line and up to the top of the hill. The last photograph I showed you was looking back across the River Breed Valley towards the town of Rye, and I'll show you another one of those now and we'll be on our way again. As you see, if you saw the second picture there, you might have just caught a glimpse of Rye over in the distance, and Rye, a bit like Winchelsea and even Nicholsham, where this is more or less where we are now, is actually on a slight hill which protected it from the sea, and does to a certain extent now, I suppose. But now we're up the top of the hill, one of my favourite bits of the journey, because we're now up into a public house, a pub as we call them in Britain, and this is an old-fashioned pub. It's called the Queen's Head. I'll show you in a minute. It's the only pub that I know that's actually got its name up on the top of the roof. A typical English pub, as I said, does wonderful food, and that inside they've got a nice log fire roaring away out there in the winter, but it was that warm that I actually sat out in the garden and had a beer in the garden, because it was unseasonably warm, as I was saying before, a bit of the old global warming, I suppose. But here's a view from the pub garden. As you can see, great views from there as well. Well, very nice, wasn't it? So yeah, I managed to tear myself away, not too long. And this is actually, as I said, in the village of Nicholsham. And Nicholsham's a very old town. I had a look on the internet, and it was actually first recorded in 772 AD. So that's a good few years ago, isn't it? And just over the road, have to cross the main road at this point, is the church. I can't remember the name of the church. It's All Saints Church. It was partly Norman built. Some of it was built in the 12th century. Very nice it is too. A bit like Winchelsea, sort of very oldie worldy around this part. And go from there up into some apple orchards, and still some apples around, so you can help yourself to a couple if you're lucky. And from the, I'll just show you another couple of photos, and you might see a nice windmill in the second one, and I'll tell you a bit more about that one in a minute. Well, as you see the apple orchards there, one of the things I like about this walk, especially at this time of year, is all the apples. That particular apple orchard, they never seem to pick the apples, so yeah, they don't mind you actually helping yourself. I usually pick them up off the ground. I say other things around this way, loads of mushrooms around, so you can sort of live off this walk, I suppose, with the mushrooms, and also chestnuts as well, sweet chestnuts, if you know what those are, so very nice as well. As I said, the windmill there, you climb up the hill to the windmill, commanding position, that windmill, and not many people know this, but that particular windmill is actually owned by Sir Paul McCartney, who doesn't live very far away from here. He lives over the other side of the valley, and he actually uses this particular windmill there as a recording studio. I didn't see him on the day, but I know he's in the area at the moment. But so once you get up the top of the hill, lovely views from there, and I'll give you a couple of pictures there from the views that you do actually get from the top, commanding views, as I said, from another little hill. As I said, very nice views. That's down to the sea there. As I said, it's not very far away, and a place called Pet Level, which I may well do a walk about in another time, because it's quite an interesting area. It's sort of a petrified forest down there, and they found dinosaur footprints and all that sort of thing, so another interesting area. Also up the top, I'll show you a picture in a minute of what you call a pillbox, which was fortification. I was saying about fortifications earlier in Winchelsea to keep the French out in medieval times. This was to keep the Germans out during the Second World War. Once again, up on the top of the hill, great views over the English Channel there, and also over to Dungeness and towards Camber Sands, if you know what that is. That lovely sandy area not very far away. Getting towards the end of the walk now, so I'll show you a couple more pictures from that view up the top of the hill there. Once again, nice views, weren't they? And this is getting towards the end of the walk, only another sort of mile or so to go. Pick some sweet chestnuts on the way, just from the little hill up the top there, down into the valley once again, and up into Winchelsea, and I'll show you a couple of pictures of that in a minute. One of the pictures will be of one of the other gates I told you about. I showed you the Strand Gate earlier, and this is what they call the new gate. I imagine that's the newest one out of them, even still built in the early 1300s. We're still talking quite old. And ruins of an old abbey up on the top of the hill there, nice autumnal scene. I'll show you those now. And there you have it, back into Winchelsea. As I said, only 4 or 5 miles. Lovely walk, especially at this time of year. All the scenery and everything. I'll just give you a flavour. I meant to mention earlier the beer that I was drinking in the pub. You might have seen it in one of the photos if you were sharp-eyed. It was called a Woods Hop Pole. Typical English name and a typical English beer, and very nice it was too. Well, that's it for now. These videos are getting a lot longer. I didn't intend it to be as long as this, but I wanted to put some more photographs in. Hope you've enjoyed this one like you did the other one, and hopefully I should do some more in the future. So I'll leave you guessing as to when the next one will be. As I said, it's only an occasional series, but thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for your time. Goodbye.